Alrighty, good morning, my friends. It is Wednesday, July 31st, 2024, finishing out July here with the FOMC announcement and Fed Chair conference this afternoon. So, be interesting to see how the day plays out here. Might be a little bit funky until that announcement in the afternoon, but let's go ahead and jump back to yesterday and take a look at what happened here. So, remember, for our bullish bias, because we are getting a lot of clues here on the higher time frames for the bulls right in this pocket. Remember, I warned you guys, 54.28 to 38, the 61.8 extension of the first fib leg sitting right there at 54.32, 54.31. A whole bunch of stuff lining up in this major area of support. This is where we were expecting the bulls to try and break out to the upside. And as you can see, the first attempt, the second attempt, the third attempt, we had a fourth attempt yesterday, and now finally coming into this morning, it looks like we've got this fifth attempt to try and break out, but they haven't been able to get through that 50% level, right? So we expected yesterday if the bulls could stay above 50% of the day before, which was this magenta line on this chart you see right here, then we would have more faith that in a continuation to the upside. If they could not hold above there, then that was our first clue that the bears were still in power. So the market open, you can see right here, it was a nice little chug, but then we got the rejection right off the first roadmap level. I mean, I feel like every morning I come in and it's Groundhog's Day. We test a major roadmap level, it's the high of the morning, we get a pullback, it holds the back end of nearly every roadmap level, and we find a low off the next roadmap level and it bounces at the end of the day. But let's go ahead and take a look at what happened here. We got a nice push up through the first, the pullback to the kiss it to the tick to come up and test our first expected resistance at 55.27. And then, like I said, we started the stair step from there. So obviously no luck for the bulls. They petered out. You did have an opportunity to buy the 200, but it didn't really go anywhere, and you should have noticed if you did try that you were getting rejections right off the fast-moving average. Not a great thing for your long. And then we had a nice kiss off the back end of the roadmap level. They even came down to the VWAP to the tick, and then kissed that level one last time to say goodbye, and then we started this beautiful sell-off. On the pullback, as you can see, what was the major support here? The close and the support and resistance level on the chart within a couple ticks. A little bit messy for a couple minutes there, but was holding around some of these roadmap levels, and then the next stair step happened. So they came back down, gave it a kiss, and then that was it for the next push down. They even got down through the close and this S&R there and gave that a kiss. Came down, there's your first tag of the 200 with very limited risk. If you were watching this live, seeing the whole market fail out, get down through 50% of the previous day, get the crossover, well, there's your first tag of the 200. You could have jumped in on the short and you would have captured a pretty hefty little trade here, guys. Pretty awesome sell-off from there. They were unlimited opportunities again. I shouldn't say unlimited, but incredible amounts of opportunity to short nearly every roadmap level, even the moving averages on the way down, and you would have made a crap load of money yesterday. On the way down, once we got through the next support, which by the way, they did come right to it, try to bounce out, and then we got the rotation back down. Here's another tag of the 200. For all intents and purposes, holding from the 200. They did, if you zoom in there, they did try to hold above it, but bunch of weakness, and basically this was the next stair step. So as they stepped off 50% of the day before and the holy orange power level and off the 200, the next major level of course was here, but they didn't come all the way back up. They basically tested the low of the day before, the next roadmap level, and then came on down, and for just a little bit of time here we were finding support right at our next major roadmap level here at about 54.56, eventually leading to a continuation to the downside when they could not hold from there, right? It was for quite a while here, for about a half hour, 45 minutes, they're holding, and then bam, right back through. And then unfortunately that stair step party to the downside ended at about midday there, noon central for me, and bounced just about a point and a half from our next major scaffolding area, and that led a little bounce. And in that bounce, what do you know? They get back through the 200, pull back, and that becomes our support for the little change in phase here going into the middle of the day. And then they fail once again right in front of the previous daily low, just like they did a couple hours earlier there. And as you can see, the end of the day, maybe not so trendy there, just kind of no rhyme or reason to the movement, but still holding up off the top end of the 200, still holding off the back end of the 200, nearly to the tick and to the tick in many instances. And then finally coming up, and at the end of the day here, if you were watching that nice little pullback to hold the next roadmap level, again, we're kind of stair-stepping up the scaffolding, previous daily close. Oh, wait a second. Whoa. Stepped up from the 200, and then we got this push up and finally got to the next roadmap level, only to fail to the tick off of that and pull back at the end of the day. Sorry, I moved this over and that close got plotted in the wrong spot there. So that was it. The end of the day, what do you know? You get your crossover. I mean, it's just kind of unlimited. Really seems like it. Pull back to the VWAP. Didn't quite work out for a big trade. Then they fall back through after this little test again. And what happens? The first tag of the 200, after a nice major high and price falling back through VWAP with the crossover, first tag of the 200, what do you got? A trade with zero risk, and you would have got yourself another 20, 30, 40, whatever, down to the downside, only to find support for all intents and purposes right at the major scaffolding area. And that's how yesterday crumbled. No excuses. I don't care if you tried a couple things and they didn't work. You had lots of other opportunities. Again, taking on a couple small losers is part of trading. If you can take a couple small losers and jump in on another trade and get 30 points out of it, you should be doing pretty well. So let's go ahead and jump to the overnight session here where we're getting the breakout up through. Remember, for the last 4 or 5 days in a row, they could not get through the major 50% retrace of the leg that we're currently trading in, which was 50% of last week. So as of the last hour, they have broken out through there and now trying to get up through some of the other resistance levels we have above. But we'll take a look here. It's been just kind of a rip your face off rally all night. Once again, and again, I say this nearly every morning, if you would have bought the first pullback to the VWAP there, zero risk, and you'd be up about, well, nearly almost 100 points at this point. So not only that, but you could have bought these aggressive pullbacks to the fast moving average. Of course, this one missed a couple ticks, but right there, could have got the pullback to the roadmap level and the fast moving average to the tick. Could have got the FMA. Notice there was some trouble right at the first resistance here, major resistance. Still holding the FMA, comes up, and now here we are, resistance for a little while off the high of yesterday. And now the breakout as we get here close to the open, where they're continuing to stair step up off these levels. And now notice the next area of major resistance has now become a perfect support to the tick here for this little bounce as I speak. So pretty incredible price action off these levels if you ask me. Let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames and see what they have to say for this morning.